Hi, my name is Bridget Ferri-O'Connell, and this is my oral presentation on how to give intellectual, solid advice, and when that advice is just not wanted. So let's start with the good. When have I received good advice, helpful advice? I must say I have received helpful advice multiple times from my Reverend, Mr. Reverend Teal at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado. And one service that especially stood out to me was the Easter service in 2011. And he mentioned so many, first off, great service, but he said something that just has stuck with me for so long. And I'm going to tell you what it is right now. It's believe in that miracle. Hold on to that miracle. Stay open, hopeful, loving, faithful, joyful, and kind with myself and the world. I mean, that's some pretty good advice. I have to say, the reason why that stuck with me is because it's something I've been working on since that Easter service in 2011. I've wanted to stay open and faithful and joyful and kind with myself and loving and kind with this world. And it's happened in this year of my 27th year. All these things are just coming together, and it's bringing so much happiness into my life. So, to answer the questions from pages 258 to 268, looking out, looking in, was this advice wanted? Oh, yes. It was advice I didn't even know I needed, but when it was said, I wrote it down immediately as he was saying it because I couldn't let it go. It was just such great advice. Is the advice given in the right sequence? Oh, yeah. I know I didn't ask any questions because he is the Reverend giving the service on Easter, so there was no way I could ask questions. But it was given at a time that I needed it. And again, like I said, I didn't even know that I needed it. And he just has this way of knowing when to give these sermons, these messages, he calls them messages, that just give me hope. Give me hope in this world. Was this advice from an expert? Oh, yeah. He has been a reverend for, I want to say 30 years. 30, yeah. Ooh, yeah, 30 years. Maybe 35. And he went through school, theology school, and before that he was an associate minister, associate reverend, and he built his way up. He moved through smaller churches to come to Mile High Church, which is a huge church. And he's just a spiritual guru. And so I believe his advice is coming from a very expertise standpoint because he has all this experience and he's willing to share it with us. Was it advice sensitive and face-saving? It was Easter Sunday. Of course it was. There's no doubt about that. Alright, let's talk about the not so fun part. Advice given that was not helpful. Oh, wow. Apparently that just happened this past Monday from my boss. I walked into work and I was told, specifically told, that I get sick all the time and that I need to figure it out and just fix it. I don't care what you have to do that, just fix it. Thank you. I'm going to go start my shift now. Still, was this advice wanted? No, of course not. Yeah, I understand that I get sick. I'm not surprised by that. Guess what? If you were born a preemie and your spleen was taken out a couple years ago and you had a compromised immune system, you would be sick a lot as well. The fact that you have a problem with it when I still show up for all my shifts if I can't get them covered and I still work at the same level and yet you still threaten me? And that's what it was. It wasn't advice. It was more of a threat. Was this advice given in the right sequence? No. Okay, she was right. I do get sick a lot. Was it advice that I wanted or needed to hear? No. It had no basis in the reality of the situations at hand. And it's also every time that I would get sick and maybe had to miss a day, and even when I didn't miss days, I brought in documentation from the doctors. So, had my bases covered. Was this advice given from an expert? Well, I guess she would call herself an expert in being able to say things from a supervisor standpoint to not get sick. It doesn't really make sense to me. Is she an expert in how to help me get better and how to make my immune system stronger? Is she a doctor? No. So no, she's not an expert in this advice. And she hardly gets sick. So she doesn't know from experience. Was this advisor close and trusted? No. I don't trust her with anything. Every conversation that we have, I document it. And I make sure to bring in, like I said, doctor's notes, so I have my bases covered. I don't trust her. I'm not close to her. And that's all there is to it. Now, Reverend Teal, on the other hand, I'm not personally close to, but I trust him wholeheartedly. And I've also talked with him on different occasions. And I know that I could talk to him on any occasion about anything and trust him with whatever I had to say, whatever advice he gave me. That's just what my heart tells me. Finally, was this advice sensitive and face-saving? What do you think? Here, let me tell you the advice again. Specifically said to me, you're sick all the time. I need you to figure it out and just fix it. I don't care what you have to do. Just fix it. So you can be the judge of that one. Now, how would I personally give advice and not give advice? Well, I have a couple ideas. First thing that I would do is while the person was talking, I would watch their body language as well. I feel you can tell so much within body language. If they seemed closed off, that's my exaggerated closed off. Or they seemed open, then that would tell me, are they willing to receive advice from me? The other thing that would help me to know when or when not to give advice is if they ask for it. At the end of the conversation, if they were to be like, can you give me some advice? What do you think? Okay, I have good advice, not a problem. If at the end of the conversation they're like, oh, thank you, I just need to vent, I just need someone to, listen to me, I'm feeling better now. And went on with their business, or change the subject, no advice given. I just had to listen. That's what they wanted. Finally, do I have truly helpful advice that I could give? And what I mean by that is the question that you've asked, that I've been asked, is this advice from an expert? So I would have to ask myself, after listening to the conversation and the body language and being asked for some advice, do I have the experience to give it? So if someone was, asking me about their relationship problems, would I have the experience to give that to them? Have I been in the same kind of situation, or have I had enough relationships that have some insight? I would ask those questions of myself first before I gave any advice. And if I didn't, I would say, I'm sorry, I haven't personally been there. But then I would offer some comforting words and tell them I'm here to listen anytime. So, in my conclusion, I have been given wonderful, helpful advice. And not just by Mr. Reverend Teal. I don't know if that gets a Mr. before it. But by family members and trusted friends. And I appreciate all of it. And professors. That was my little bragging point. And yeah, I have been not helpful advice. And I've always found that sad when someone thought I needed advice and I didn't ask for it. And that's when I kind of have to look within, see if any of it applies. And if I can honestly say none of it applies, I let it go. And I don't let it affect me. And that's what I did. I realized none of what she was saying was anything that I could really do. And I'm doing the best I can. I eat well, really well. It's annoying. I work out 5 to 6 days a week. I do CrossFit. I sleep at least 7 hours a night. I love sleep. And I take multiple vitamins at the end of the night as well. Because I do really want to keep myself healthy. If I feel a cold coming on or my allergies, I take cold snap and I take allergy medication. So, sorry. So, yes, I could let that go, and I did. And I had a great shift in the end. It was with 2 other people, and she was just in the back room, so it was great. I laughed a lot that night. I hope my speech, oral presentation, not speech, oral presentation, has been beneficial, and I hope that, at the end of the day, that you get helpful advice yourself, or that you're able to give helpful advice. And if you can't, that you're just able to be a good friend, or coworker, or classmate, and just be able to listen. Have a good night, you guys, and thank you.